Okay, so I'm going to take over here for a little while anyway. I have a list of questions here that I had developed after the last conversation that I had with Brad, which I'm pretty sure took place over Slack. Nonetheless, since we have him here, it'd be inappropriate not to take advantage of that fact. Brad, a couple of questions. First of all, I know that you guys have been in contact with both the law department and the town of Brookhaven at large. Can you update us on the plans surrounding all of that?
Sure. Well, we were given a good guy to deal with from the town of Brookhaven that's really been extremely helpful lately. And he's been pushing things through as far as a meeting with the town, which should be in about 2 weeks, to sit down and to discuss the different um, things that I'm trying to do in order to deploy the services to the footprint in the area where we have existing cable. So I'm looking forward to that in about 2 weeks to sit down with them, and then hopefully from there we can start scheduling when we're going to turn up service in different areas.
Okay, now speaking of that, while we're on the subject, you've probably seen that several of the people that follow us, either on Twitter or in other environments, have complained about exactly that. That we've been talking about this great new company that's coming in, and we've tried to explain to them what's going on with the town and the law department. What would you say to these people who are your potential customers out there? How would you like to address them?
Well, sure. I mean, I understand the frustration a lot of people have with their existing service and what they go through probably on a daily basis with service going up and going down, et cetera, and so on. I mean, OCG, we're trying to deploy as quickly as possible where we have existing network right now, which is the quickest way to get service to market. I mean, some of this depends on the town giving us permission to put some electronics out in the field in order to service a lot of these areas. But as far as the rest of the areas for the people who are really looking for service, the best they can do is go to our website, www.ocgcom.com, and put in their information. We're actively plotting those requests on a daily basis onto our system, and we're then taking that and trying to figure out how we can get to groups of customers that are closest to the backbone. So, for example, the people, the residents in the area of Rocky Point, they all got together and they all signed up on there, probably about 300 something people, put their information on there that they're looking for service, which is great because we sent one of our engineers up there to start looking at how to deploy service to the entire area of Rocky Point. I mean, there's a certain amount that we can do construction wise based on permits, requesting permission to attach to the poles, or excavating, which we have to get permits from the town. But what's great is if people go to our website and they put their info, we start understanding where there's groups of people and how we can start seeing where we can deploy first.
Now, one
Okay, now,
thing, Frank, can I just follow up with one point that I think is really important that I don't want to skip over because it's so important. Um, Brad, you're in a situation where you have the incumbents, you have your Optimums and all these different companies, your Verizons and whatnot, and you're in a situation where we have a broadband crisis here in the United States, and we really do. We don't get the speeds that we should be getting. We are leaps behind compared to other countries. How frustrating, and I just wanted you to, because I want people to understand, just briefly touch on how frustrating is it for you to want to provide an alternative, to want to provide reliable service to people, and just can you just explain some of the hurdles that you have to go through?
Well, sure. And that's a very good question. And I'm glad you asked that because I want to give a couple examples, which I think will be very helpful to the people that are watching these videos. I'll give you an example. One of our cables runs along Middle Country Road and it goes all the way out east to the Brookhaven Laboratories area. We've spoken to a number of the different firehouses and other type of things along the way. And we've actually connected two different fire companies along Middle Country Road that one of them actually had dial-up still running for their ambulance calls and things. And we dropped in a 10 gig switch, gave them service, and now they can do things and it's just phenomenal for them. And they don't even know what to say because the quality is so good. I'd love to be able to do that for everybody. But here are some of the things that we deal with. And one of the reasons we're trying to deploy first, where we're already attached to the poles, is because we can go from the existing pole where we are to a customer's home or small business by putting the cable up there, and we don't have to apply for any new attachments, as they call it, to the utilities. If I have a new run that I'm looking to do, they have these different fees and charges and things that they have, that just to put an application in to request a pole attachment, it's $250 per pole that gets paid to the electric company. So if I need to run down 10 poles to reach a couple customers, it's 10 times $250 just to give them a piece of paper with 10 different pole numbers on it. And once you do that, then you have to inspect the pole with one of their people at $100-something an hour. So there's a lot of costs that are involved. Plus, the state has put these real estate taxes where now they consider fiber optic cable real estate, whether it's on a pole that you're paying rental, or if it's in a conduit, that maybe if you're renting Verizon conduit. Even though you're in someone else's conduit, they still consider it real estate, just like your house. So you're paying these assessed taxes on everything. So as I'd love to build out to everyone and deliver service as quickly as possible, we really have to look at the economics of it, because in order for us to extend to certain areas, if there's not enough demand, it just becomes a drain on the entire project of trying to deploy. That's why I'm saying Rocky Point, you guys did great. They put 300-something people, put their names and addresses in, and there's enough people in that area to justify the build. And that's why my engineers are looking at that area along with a couple of other ones first, because it justifies all these costs, expenses, taxes we have to pay just to get out there.
Was it 14.4, 36.6, or 56K?
The moda.
Oh, I'm not sure what it was, but it was an old. I forgot the name of the modem. It's an old school one that I had way back in the day. I recognized it, but once we dropped the service in, we actually linked the different firehouses together. So instead of them having to have an internet connection at 3 different firehouses, we gave them one and shared the connection with fiber between the 3 of them. And now they have one big connection, and they have their own WAN between the different locations. So they're saving money, which they can put towards, better ambulances or equipment or whatever it is, but they have the reliability of a very good, reliable service. We did the same out east for the Ridge Fire Department. We hooked them up. Those guys love it because the speed is there and they can do what they need to do. And it's just, it's a good deal. And for them, it's a good deal. So along these different runs where we are, in order for us to drop service to everyone, in some places we need to install a little cabinet, which we're looking to try to put down on ground level on the side of the road or off to the side, because we can put electronics there and then service more of the people along the way, which we really need to do in order to deploy. So once we get some of these approvals and we drop some of them in, anyone who's along our existing routes, so for example, our north route, Middle Country Road that goes from almost the Nassau border all the way out to past William Floyd out to Schultz. That's our north route. So just to use that as an example, you're a small business or residential along there. As we get permission to drop these cabinets in, now we can drop service to you. And we drop a gig pipe, because the way we work is we're not using GPON. I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with it. It's what a lot of the companies, Fios and them use, where they split the signal between either 32 or 64 customers. So everyone's sort of sharing the same kind of fiber, and there's some limitations with that. We drop what's called the active Ethernet. So you are connected directly to one of our switches, not through a bunch of filters. So we can give you extremely fast, extremely reliable service. And to give you an example, these fire departments that are out in Long Island here, they're hitting like a 1 millisecond to the internet, which is extremely fast for them.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So Brad, I want to back up for a second. Just again for the technically challenged among us, I want to make sure that you identify the term 10 gig switch. What does that mean?
So basically, the switch is a device that we install in a building. It basically allows us to bring in a large internet pipe and then share it amongst a number of different customers at one location.
Okay. And moving on, the follow-up question that I had on the last one is from the time that you actually get the go ahead, from the time that you get the go from the town and from whoever you need, what exactly is the time factor to start getting some of these actually in home in the places that we were just talking about?
Well, while we're waiting for the town, my engineers are actually engineering what needs to be put in the air on top of our existing cable, and in some areas that's already being installed. Once we have the okay from the town, we have the permit, then basically once the permit's issued, our contractor can start dropping these pedestals and these pedestal pads in, probably a week afterwards. So if we have, right now, I think there's like 15 of them that are in for permits for the first group. So once that's done, they can basically go out in there and start dropping those in, which will really allow us to service a couple thousand customers.
Okay. All right. So, and I guess probably the last question that I would put out there for this segment, is longer term, for you guys. What I know that you've got immediate plans in some areas here, but is there, within that same Long Island area that we were talking about, the people that have been commenting about this, is there some kind of a connection between how all of these are going to come out? Will they come out at the same time? Will they come out one behind the other, or will you flip a switch and everybody will come on at the same time? So that if Johnny is 3 blocks away, is he going to come on the same time as Ray?
So basically, the way this is going to work is along our backbone to start is where these cabinets are going to be installed, which will allow us to service everyone that's right along Middle Country. As far as going off a few blocks, that's where we're taking the data from everyone that's putting their information into our website to say who's looking for service. So if we're going down Middle Country and let's just say off of 111, there's 10 customers right down the block that are interested, my engineers take that as a group and they put in the requests in order to attach those poles so that those can get added as we keep going. But in order to just get people in service as soon as possible, we're focusing on what's right next to our pole line, and then we can branch off as we continue. So it's a number of things happening at the same time, but the permit process really just slowed a bunch of things down. We were looking to get a lot more deployed in the summertime versus getting into the fall, which is looks like where this is going to be.
I have a follow-up question, and full disclosure, some of you know this, most people don't. I am a lifelong, since I was 18 years old, telecom executive. Please keep your booze to a minimum. And I guess my question is this: why is it that a company like yours can develop an infrastructure to deliver service, reliable, symmetrical, service, and why is it that the big boys, the Optimums of the world, can't do it, or in your professional opinion, are unwilling to do it?
Basically, the reason that my company is able to do a lot of this is because this is network that was built with a particular function of being extremely reliable to deliver services to governmental type agencies and those type of customers. A lot of the larger companies have a lot of challenges. My company is privately owned. I own the company. I don't have a lot of investors. I don't have a board with a lot of people on it, which makes it very easy for me to turn around and make decisions trying to get things done. A lot of the larger companies, like, if you want to take Altice, okay, it's not bashing them. They have a tremendous network. They have a lot of legacy stuff, which is the coax and the different things. There's a lot to manage at the same time with the tremendous amount of footage of cable and coax and everything else that they have out there. So a company like mine can roll things out and deliver because we built the backbone years ago. It was also less expensive to attach to the poles, but we're focused on what we're doing. We don't have to also manage a huge network like a Altice or a Verizon or whoever has to. We can focus more on what we're doing, what we're trying to deliver.